Hey, future managers, I'm Dr. Morel. I wanted to take a minute to walk through our syllabus with you and hopefully answer any questions that maybe come up as you're looking through the syllabus. So first thing is this is a fully online class. But I did want to give you an opportunity that if you do have questions for me, that you can join a Zoom and I can answer any questions you have about an assignment or if you want me to look anything over. Anything along those lines, you can get a better idea for my expectations for you if you have a question on the content for the week. So I'm going to have a set one early on, May 17th at 6 o'clock p.m. We may have another one maybe around week 5 or so if you have any other questions that come up around halfway through the class and to talk about any assignments for the second half. But we'll start off with one May the 17th and see what it is from there. If you have questions as things come up, please do not hesitate to contact me. I'm here. It's summer. I'm going to have nothing better to do than read emails from you. But that being said, please feel free to drop me an email if you have any questions that come up. If you want to talk with me about something, drop me an email first and then say, hey, can we set up a time to talk? And we can talk via Zoom or we can talk on the phone, whatever you prefer. But I always say go to email first when you try to get a hold of me. All right, so let's go ahead and talk through the class, shall we? All right, so I'll go ahead and let you read the mission of PLNU and the Formation School of Business on your own. But basically what we're doing in this class is we are setting a manager's role in the organization, including the task of planning, organizing, leading, and controlling. Polk, we call that. So what we're going to talk about from a topic perspective are change and innovation, corporate culture, global business, ethics, corporate social responsibility and sustainability, organizational structure and design, decision-making, human resources, and leadership. So throughout this class, we've kind of designed some activities for you so that you can be able to recognize kind of how we got here in regards to management thought, the management theorists that we have, and why the management theories that we have are important to kind of talk about what's gone on in business between the Industrial Revolution and now, because there's really been a pretty big transition and a change of thought over even just the last 120 years. And then I want you to go to describe the 4 functions of management, which is that planning, organizing, leading, and controlling from up above. And then exhibit and illustrate an understanding of the management principles, including human resources, operations, which is supply chain, organizations, and leadership. I want you to employ decision-making capabilities within a team, and then also use verbal and written communication to exhibit management principles, theories, and current events. I can't tell you how important soft skills are for managers, those verbal and written communication skills. So I really want to give you opportunities, even if we are in a fully online class, to be able to develop those this semester, because I think they're only going to be value added for you in your careers, whether you're managing others or just managing yourself. All right, so here's kind of how, and the last one, of course, is a big part of the class, is to analyze ethical issues in the context of management theory. So we'll look at, management ethics a little bit, and some of the different frameworks that we can maybe see how management decisions have been made and maybe make our own managerial decisions. So we'll plan on that this semester. So how are you going to build your A? Let's take a quick look here. So we have a lot of written discussions that we do, and then we also have reading. We have a really great book, Exploring Management, and then we also have another book called People Over Profit by Dale Partridge that really sums up a lot of the mentality of management that we try to promote. I have lecture videos that I want you to watch and then also interact with, get discussions, talk with your peers about. And then we also have 2 papers. We have a Management in the Real World paper and an Executive Interview paper that I'll ask you to write about the different levels of management, maybe some of the findings that you find from those interviews. We also have a really cool simulation that you got the link for. It's from Capsum that you can join and kind of simulate some of the activities that a manager does and how we kind of prioritize our time and organize and lead and all of those good things. So it's a really kind of a great exercise to put our management skills to use and see how we do. And then we're also going to have weekly quizzes and exams as well for some of our coursework. So those are kind of how we're going to build RA this semester. So here's kind of what the point values look like. I'll let you go ahead and read through them to kind of get an idea. But overall, we're trying to get to 1,000 points together this semester through our papers, quizzes, discussions, final exam, reflections on the reading, and then lecture participation are kind of the big rocks. And then we have a great ethics team presentation as well, which I'm really looking forward to seeing how you all do with that. I'm sure I know you're going to do great, but I'm looking forward to seeing the angle of research you take. All right, so overall, here's kind of your point values to kind of keep an eye on. I just want to like to remind everybody that an A is anything between a 93 and a 100. So I always say you have to look at, where you're kind of spending your time. I would love to be able to give everybody here an A, or everyone here earn an A, I should say. But an A is a 93 and an A is a 100. So I always tell students, don't stress about getting the 90 or 100. An A is an A, and I know you guys are all very busy. Some of you had families, but I just want to encourage you guys to do well. But a 93 is great. And I just noticed that a lot of students get stressed trying to get the highest A possible, but it's all still an A. So that's my only encouragement when it comes to a stress and anxiety and a work management perspective that I wanted to share with you all. Okay, incompletes and late assignments. So Canvas as a system is designed to, if the deadline passes, the system will automatically generate a 0 for you. That's not Dr. Morrell, this is the program. So you will automatically get a 0 if there is a missing assignment. That being said, I usually will grade late assignments. So if it's up to a day late, I'll do 10%, up to 2 days late, 20%. And then usually after that, it's around, I'm grading probably much at about half credit. But that being said, if you know something's going to be late, you're at a family emergency, you're in the emergency room, you know you're not going to get the paper in by midnight, talk to me ahead of time before something is due. I am more than happy to work with you to talk to me before it's due. After it's due, it's a lot harder for me to be able to accommodate you and help you. So reach out to me before it's due if at all possible, and I can help you if there's going to be a late assignment. That being said, I want to encourage you not to procrastinate either. If you know something's due at midnight, don't start writing it at 10 o'clock. So think a little bit ahead of time as well. Don't be waiting until the final deadline to get things done. All right. But the big bottom line is just communicate with me. That's all it really is. All right, from a spiritual care perspective, we have an amazing pastor, Reverend Wong. If you ever have any sort of spiritual care concerns, would like me to pray with you, give you any sort of spiritual counsel, Gordon Wong is the guy for that. You can see his email and his cell phone number for you. I'd highly recommend reaching out to him if you have any sort of care concerns. You're welcome to speak to me as well, but he's just a great individual as well. All right. From academic honesty, my expectations that everybody here is going to be doing their own work. We have built in some plagiarism tools as well. So just make sure you're not copying and pasting. Make sure you're submitting your own work, and you're going to be just fine. If you're in need of academic accommodations, you can reach out to the EAC at Point Loma, and they will get you plugged with any accommodations that you may need. You can reach out to me as well to let me know how you'd like to use them in my class, but we do provide academic accommodations. So we are not necessarily a synchronous class session, we are asynchronous. So that being said, if I notice that a week goes by and I get no submissions from you, that counts as your participation, right? So I always would encourage you to get your submissions in regularly, and you will hear from me if I don't get any submissions from you in like a week. I'll be like, what's going on? But if there's a period of, a couple of weeks where there's no submissions, that will affect your participation grade. All right. So here's our overall course schedule and assignment. So week 1, we're going to kind of take it easy. We're just going to let you guys look through the course, look through the syllabus, and then introduce yourselves to each other. I know some of you know each other, some of you don't. I think this is a really great class side for us to be able to get to know each other a little bit. And then from there, we'll go right into in week 2, which is where we're going to kind of start our chapter analysis. So generally speaking, we're going to go through 2 chapters a week. And then for several of the weeks, we'll also build in People of a Prophet with Partridge as well. People of a Prophet is a really easy read. I give you guys 50 pages a week. We'll read it over 4 weeks, but I think you'll find that it's written from a really great perspective, and it's very palatable, digestible read. So I think you'll really like it, get some great takeaways from it, and hopefully help kind of change the way you view business and management a little bit. But week 2, we'll go through chapters 1 and 2, which are kind of the foundations of management. Week 3, we'll talk about chapter 3, which is ethics, and start reading through People of a Prophet. And then from a lecture perspective, we'll learn about ethics and social responsibility in chapter 3. Week 4, that's chapters 11 and chapter 14. So chapter 11 is on leadership and chapter 14 is on managing teams. And some of that teamwork stuff may come in handy for you when you're putting together your ethics presentation as well. So, and then we'll continue with Partridge, page 55 through 100 from there. Week 5, chapters 5 and chapter 7. Chapter 5 is on planning and chapter 7 is on strategy. And then we'll continue on with Partridge as well, but we'll talk about how, the importance of planning and management in week 5. And then week 6, we'll move on to chapters 8 and chapters 9. So chapter 8 is on organizational structure and design. So there's a lot of strategy actually in how we do structure and design our organizations, and it says a lot about how we lead. So we'll talk about that. And then chapter 9 is talking about innovation and change in organizations as well, and how that can affect an organizational culture, and how an innovation and change may be successful or not based upon the culture of an organization. Week 7 is going to be chapter 6 on controls and putting the C in Polk, as I call it. But we'll talk about controls and control systems, such as the balanced scorecard. And moving to chapter 17, which is on globalization and international business. From that, I kind of want to veer off a little bit and talk a little bit about supply chain. Supply chain is something that's in the news every day now, but we'll talk a little bit about international business that week as well. And then you can see from our final week, we're going to kind of figure out, what all did we learn this semester? We're going to go through a lot. We're going to go through it pretty quickly, but I feel like this is a really manageable amount of work and workload for us to do, and I think you guys are going to be successful at it. As I mentioned, I'm a resource for you, here to answer any questions that you may have, but I'm just thrilled to have you in class and thrilled to learn with you this semester, and looking forward to getting to know you more. Thank you.